Hello, I'm Artifacts of Mars. Before we start, I wish to state for the record that I do have a slight speech impediment that some of you may notice. This impediment is due to an illness which I had at the beginning of the year. I hope someday to attend speech therapy to help me regain what I've lost. I still have less than 100% control of the facial muscles on the left side of my face. The video you are about to see shows an incredible area that Spirit rover photographed on Sol 676 on its little ramp across Gussive Crater. I believe this to be an ancient walkway or roadway. There are 2, possibly 3 tunnels going underneath this. The large tunnel on the left actually looks more like a large triangular object, but I've determined that it is almost certainly a tunnel. The middle tunnel, one that's at the middle of the photo, is a little more distant, but it has an unusual divider right in the middle of it, as if it was expecting traffic going on one side and traffic come out the other side. These 2 tunnels, to me, are proof that this is not a natural formation. I think without further ado, we'll get started on this and show exactly what I'm talking about. The following video is taken from 2 photographs in the Spirit Sol 676 series. It should be considered public domain property, may be reproduced freely for educational purposes. Thank you very much. This is the original box artifact photo. Notice the large, almost triangular object at the right edge of the border. Can't miss it. We're going to be discussing that in detail. This is one of Spirit's debris fields. Take a look at the large object, upper left, same thing as in the last photo. This is a tunnel leading underneath the ground, apparently. We're going to take a look at that. Okay, here we have the tunnel again, one of 2 tunnels that I'm certain of. We're going to look at it. It's got the blue arrow pointing towards it. You look at it, it's like an arch shape. You can see the underside of it. Look directly above it, and the red arrow. You see a small object that's directly above it. It's probably something that's related. There's a bunch of things there. And directly in front of this, we see a light green arrow pointing to an odd object. I have been unable to identify this object, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Artificial, natural, I don't know. And finally, I draw your attention upper left, the yellow arrow. It's like a small tower that's sitting there. Probably something, once again, to do with this whole area. Underground complex, walkway, whatever it is. Probably not a rock. I would guess not. Alright, the only other thing is there's a whole bunch of objects right near the tunnel. Take a look, decide for yourself which ones are natural and which aren't. And we'll go to the next plate. Alright, here we go. We can see the main tunnel. It's traced out in red with a red arrow pointing to it. I also did a little tracing on top of the ridge to show how that goes across, nice and straight and even. I can't see much inside that tunnel with the exception of the support, which is pointed out by the yellow arrow. This really reminds me of a tunnel where you would go in one side and come out the other. I think it goes underneath the ridge in the photo and goes to someplace we can't see. I noticed a little blue arrow just above the one line. It's like a pigeonhole hole or something. I believe it's like a little access port or perhaps a drainage port. Just a little add-on. Finally, we're going to look at two green arrows. Lower one points to this object that's sticking up. Could be rock, could be unnatural. It's really difficult to tell. But there are a series of white tanks, or what look like white tanks, that the top green arrow is pointing to. Don't know what those are, but they don't look natural. They're right behind this main object. In fact, with some lighting adjustments, that object looks like it's in a tunnel of its own. That whole area is unnatural. I mean, you don't have tunnels with straight sides being natural caves. That's not a natural cave. That's a tunnel that goes underneath there and goes to wherever. And, you know, we're going to leave it at that for now, because we got a couple other things to look at. I need to do one more thing here. We need to take a look at the texture of the area in question as compared to the foreground. Take a look at the ground. You notice how, while we have all these objects there, that's relatively smooth. Well, the texture is very grainy in the top part, and I believe the reason is that this is either mortared stone that we're looking at, stone and mortar, or brick and mortar. It's hard to tell from this range. I believe it's stone and mortar. So we just need to take that into consideration while looking at this whole area. Now basically what we've just seen is like a little roadway or walkway. It has a couple of tunnels underneath it, possibly the third one on the right. I'm still studying that. There's no question that we're looking at artificiality here. The question is, why doesn't NASA just come out and tell us? And I can think of a few answers for that. At any rate, in part 2, we're going to look at some objects that will surprise many. Things so bizarre that they can't be explained any other way other than as artifacts and structures. I thank you for your kind attention, and part 2, maybe a couple of weeks. We'll see. Have a good day.